Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow fatherless behavior cult members. I'm kidding. We're not a cult. We're not a cult. But we could be a cult personality. You see what I did there? Never mind. Welcome to episode 140 something 8 or another, where we try to hide from our responsibilities as adults and record from under the apron. As you can all tell by the swift intro, I don't have much to say from my intro monologue from the cold open that I usually do. Maybe next time. Maybe next time I will. Maybe next time I'll have something in my head and it'll just come out like poetry. I can't take this thing so serious. You know that. I don't. This isn't poetry. This is just a random burst, outburst of word vomit. Is that what that girl from Mean Girl said? Word vomit. Word vomit. Okay, let's get serious for a moment. This is episode 148, and for those that are new, this is a recap and review episode of TV series Glow on Netflix, a show about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling that was set in the 80s. I will have bits of trivia here and there with additional interviews from the creators, directors, or stars of the show throughout the years. All in all, it makes for an awesome episode. If you haven't yet watched Glow, excuse me, there's that word vomit I was talking about. If you haven't yet watched Glow, I suggest you do so and follow along as I recap and tell you what I thought of the episode. If you haven't yet, check out episode 123. That is episode 123, where I talk about the first season and pilot episode of Glow if you want to go back and listen. This is season 2, episode 10. It's the season finale. Finally, we're here. Oh goodness, we're done. I'm done. I'm here. I'm at the end of the second season. This is season 2, episode 10 of Glow on Netflix, titled "Every Potato Has a Receipt." The title of the episode is a wrestling reference. A potato is hitting your opponent for real with a hard punch. A receipt is hitting your opponent back with a hard punch after he or she gave you a potato. So, either or, either or. What do you want, a potato or a receipt? I'll take the potato. This episode was directed by Jesse Perez, who also directed the pilot episode and season 1, episode 1, and season 7, episode 7 live studio audience. So, not only does he direct the first episode, the first season of ever, directed the last episode of the second season. Season and 7 live studio, season 1, episode 7 live studio audience, which was pretty much. Try to remember that one. No, I don't. Written by Marquita Robinson, season 2, episode 1, Viking Funeral. You know, Vicky gets fired. That's why it was called a Viking Funeral, because she gets kicked out of the group. And season 2, episode 6, Work the Leg, where Debbie accidentally, would we call that an accident? Where she, like, destroyed Ruth's knee, ankle, leg. Was that an accident? She did some uh stuff. She smoked. No, she didn't. She sniffed some cocaine, and then went to work on the leg and just broke it. You heard the crack. All right, let's get to the synopsis. Wedding bells are ringing as the wrestlers step through the ropes for a big finale, but last minute twists catch everyone off guard. The cold open is Rhonda and the rest of the Glow Girls are in a radio station. She says, and after I gave them a tour of my laboratory, we each put a lock of our hair into the beaker to make sure we're compatible, scientifically, which we are. And so I said, yes, I'll marry him. The radio DJ, Dan, played by Jake Fogelnest, who's written for shows like the Marvel series Runaways, the Ron Burgundy podcast. Ron Burgundy has a podcast. You know what? I'm gonna go listen to that podcast. But I'm curious. Like, Why? Why not? Why not? Why not? The Ron Burgundy podcast and the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Uh, Radio DJ Dan confirmed this to the audience that are listening. So marrying a fan of television, okay. Come on, this has to be some kind of stunt, right? Russell comes in late telling the other girls, sorry, we forgot to start an alarm. Melrose looks over at Ruth, who is dressed as Zoya, and asks Russell if he also forget to tell her to cover that hickey. Russell doesn't think it's noticeable. Pan over to Ruth, and her right side is covered in bite marks. Wow. Sheila says it looks like a leech made a home on her neck. Rhonda talks to the DJ saying it's not a stunt, it's a wedding. The DJ asks, is it just for television? Rhonda says it's very real, and she got the marriage license right here. Who shows up to the radio station with a real marriage license just to prove? What? She shows to the DJ. Ruth swings the microphone and yells, yes, Zoya hate American wedding. Is bourgeois capitalist scam for make huge TV ratings, Danielle. The DJ says, okay, it's Dan. It's Dan, not Danielle. And let's talk about ratings for a second. You girls have become quite the sleeper hit in Los Angeles. Our phone lines are lighting up like crazy. You must have some very dedicated fans. Rhonda says they do. They would marry all their fans if they could. If they, never mind. The DJ says they got time for one more call. Hello, you're on with the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. The caller yells, this is Big Kurt Jackson of the Lumberjacksons, and I'm chopping mad at Machu Picchu. Get it? Chopping? Because he does the chop at the very end. Yeah, it's fucking lumberjack, whatever. Carmen swings the microphone towards her and says, hey, Kurt, can we talk about this later privately? Kurt says it's too late. We're talking. You went on live TV and used my moves. You're a liar, a thief. DJ Dan says, wow, very dramatic stuff of Machu. Any reaction? Liberty Bell chimes in and says Machu Picchu is one of the most honorable wrestlers that I know, and behind every lady wrestler, hoping to make it is a man trying to bring her down. So if y'all want to see our moves, then come to our big wedding finale this Thursday night and see if I can hold on to my crown. DJ Dan cuts her off and says, well, that's our show. If you can't make it down to the taping, tune in to KDTV Saturday at 2 a.m. This is Dan Lyon, and we're lying low. That was a great pun. Here's a song for the bride. He plays Chapel of Love by the Dixie Cups, and everyone starts singing along. You know, going to the chapel, and we're gonna get sued. Too bad, YouTube. The Glow logo appears on the screen, and the real version is played.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!
Movies and feelings. Pop, pop. Bring Your Own Popcorn is a podcast that dives into people and the movies who love them. Let us preach to your choir or stoke your ire as we spiral down memory lane with cult classics, Jurassics, and other genres that rhyme with traffic. What we lack in education, we make up for with comedy, compassion, and camaraderie. I'm your host, Mixtape Majesty, inviting you to join me and an assortment of wonderful guests on fine podcast apps everywhere. Bring your own popcorn.
Rosalie and Sam are walking out of his house, and he tells her, all right, so we can agree to be people about this, you know, like people who talk every once in a while about their kid and how she's doing. Rosalie says, yes, they can do that with you while we can talk about how you can help her with college tuition. Sam does a cringy face. He doesn't want to do that. He's like, Why did I just say that? Rosalie tells Sam good luck with the show. Sam thanks her and says it was nice seeing her again. No, it wasn't. He walks over to Justine, who comes over there out of the house with her backpack ready to go home. She tells him she hates Sacramento. It's like going back to the 1950s. Sam says, all right, I lived in the 1950s. I think you're going to be fine. No, really? You've never been to Sacramento? I lived there. It's horrible. Like, they have this place called Old Sacramento, and it's weird. Old Sacramento's like downtown. Downtown is like not like downtown, your regular downtown. Old Sacramento is like the old 1950s. There it goes. The Western type. It is not nice. Um, she asks if he will visit, and he says probably not. But she has a room there with him, and they will work on Rosalie, but she gotta stop lying to her because it's not helping her case. Justine begins to cry. She doesn't want to leave. Sam hugs her daughter. Sam hugs his daughter and tells her to finish her screenplay. She tells him to finish his. Justine tells Sam she'll miss him, and he says he will too. Rosalie starts the car. She climbs right in, headed back to Sacramento. Next scene, Sam arrives at the gym and he meets with Debbie, who is sitting on the chairs where the executives will be sitting. They're marked with VIP. Sam comments that they are laying it on a little dick there, pal. Debbie says the girls have a match they want to show us. Sam says this is why he's here. Let's get it over with. In the ring is Carmen, Cherry, and Ruth still in her leg cast. Cherry says we know what you're thinking. How can she wrestle with the cast? But wait, watch. Ruth says she's a novelty act. Carmen says people love watching someone beat the odds. It's an underdog story. Sam calls Ruth peg leg and to take it away. Ruth pushes Cherry to the ropes. Carmen grabs Ruth in the arm lock from behind but throws her into the ropes. There's a lot of grunting and weird noises and grunting, more grunting, moaning. Sam and Debbie both feel bad because it's horrible. It's horrible. It's like watching a one-legged person try to, yeah. Debbie whispers to Sam that it's all so slow and boring. Sam whispers back that Ruth really wants to wrestle. All the girls really want her to wrestle. Carmen slowly body slams Ruth, and Debbie whispers to Sam to make it be over. Okay, let's pause right there. Debbie broke her ankle. This is Debbie's fault. Why can't Debbie help her? You know? Why is like ugh, this is bad? Yeah, because you made it bad. That's why. It's like it's bad because of you. You snorted cocaine. You decided to get in the ring. You decided to freaking fight this girl, and you decided to like crack her ankle. And this all thing stems on you. You need to fix this. Uh, Sam gets up and tells them that, ladies, sorry, let's stop it. It's really not working. Carmen says no, it's about to pick up steam. Ruth suggests she rips her cast off and lands one last move and they can ragdoll her around. Debbie interrupts and says if they didn't have executives sitting in the front row, then it'd be good. Ruth is sad and says, yeah, I might never wrestle again. I don't want to go out like this. Debbie tells her, well, if they have a good enough show, then she'll have plenty of opportunities to wrestle again in the near future, not on this episode. Sam suggests that Ruth hangs out with him to co-direct. She's gonna do it anyway, so let's just make it official. Ruth is happy and sure, yeah, whatever the show needs. So it's like, basically, you can't do what you want. So here's um, what am I trying to say here? Um, here's your second prize. The prize for the second person, right there, right? Next scene, Bash is outside his home, smoking a cigarette, looking out into the ocean. Ugh, I'm looking out into the ocean. Being a badass, smoking a cigarette, yeah. Somebody walks up behind him with a Rob's deep clean uniform. Bash turns around and tells him he was supposed to bring a full crew. The cleaning guy says he got 4 more people coming. Bash says he want them to start with the upstairs guest bedroom. Just empty it out, whatever clothes they find, anything in drawers or the sheets, just throw it all away. Scrub down the house, everything from the baseboard, every floor tile, just bleach the whole house, and they should wear gloves. The cleaning guy says he dealt with this before. They know what they're doing. His guys know what they're doing also. The cleaning guy and his other cleaning guys go inside the house and bash theirs out into the ocean again. He's a badass, smoking a cigarette, looking out into the ocean. Yeah, that's him. Badass, all right. Optical flip, and it's nighttime. The cleaning guys already done their business. They've done it. Badger's sitting on a chair in the front of his pool, smoking another cigarette, and he sobs. On last week's episode, I had an interview with theadvocate.com. They were interviewing Alex Rich, who plays Florian. Here's the rest of the interview by Daniel Reynolds. We learned Florian, like many gay men in that time period, died alone in a hospital of an AIDS-related illness. Why is it important to hear that story today? Uh, Alex says, in showing the isolation and stigma through a lonely death from AIDS, the viewer understands the emotional weight of that diagnosis. We also see how far the community has come and how rampant and tragic that time was for the queer community. Florian was such a vibrant, loving, hilariously excitable character. The juxtaposition of that brightness and the concept of a dark, solitary death with no friends around and no one to even take the body highlights not only the sadness that underwrote that time period, but also the importance of destigmatizing HIV today and boosting up the positive population so that no person suffers that horrible end. You were only in one scene this season, but Florence' disappearance was a major plot point, as told in the last few episodes where he disappeared and Bash was looking all over for him. Why do you think Florian left Bash during a time he clearly could have used a friend? In the 80s, the HIV epidemic was terrifying, isolating, shameful, and tragic. I think that Florian left Bash to spare him the details of his gruesome death sentence. While losing someone is tough, watching someone disintegrate and wither away is much tougher. Also, coming out as a gay man with HIV was an impossible mountain to overcome in a time that was unsure about the disease and still closed-minded in its acceptance of a queer lifestyle. Florian would have had to overcome all of those obstacles by staying. In leaving, he avoided the added heartbreak of burdening his closest friend. As a viewer, did you blame Bash for abandoning his friend's body? Bash is a growing and developing individual struggling to make his own name outside of his mother's shadow and has lived through a truly coddled lifestyle. Basically, privileged. I think Florian's death was too much adulthood for him to process, especially in the roller coaster of potentially losing the one thing he has built for himself in Glow. I think that his reaction feels real. It's much easier as a human to avoid that deep of a cut and sad reality than to entertain it and let it in. I don't blame Bash, but I do think the timing, the time period, and the lifestyle that made him capable of processing that information is unfortunate. What would Florian have wanted his friend to do? I really don't think Florian would have wanted Bash to see his downfall. If he did, though, I imagine he would just ask for comfort. In the 80s, people knew so much less about HIV and AIDS than we do now, and I'm sure that Florian would have felt contagious and ashamed. He would have hated the concept of putting Bash at risk and hurting him physically or emotionally. Hey, it's Evo. We're going to get back to the episode you're listening to, but first, let me tell you about Dark Fate Creations. Dark Fate Creations are candles that are vibrant, colorful, marble tops, amazing, mouth-watering fragrances, fueled by lovely braided cotton wicks. Paper threads woven into every cotton wick for a clean, romantic, slow, and consistent burn. Each candle is unique from the next as they are hand-mixed and hand-poured right in Grass Valley, California. They use only coconut and soy waxes for a safer, cleaner, and longer burn time. That's almost 72 hours. That's like binging on all 130 episodes of the podcast. All fragrance blends have been heavily researched. Dark Fate Creations not only care about the look, fragrance, and quality of their candles and their other products, but also the effects they have in their customers' homes. So go to darkfatecreations.com. The link will be in the show notes.
everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Dawn.
And if you've ever watched a TV show and thought to yourself, oh my god, that season finale plot twist was absolutely bonkers.
Or seen a movie and thought, wow, I need to talk to somebody about this train wreck immediately.
Then we think you'll fit right in with our podcast, I Hate It, Let's Watch It. We watch TV shows like Riverdale and Emily in Paris.
And movies like Deep Water, Killer Sofa, Rubber, and Deadly Illusions. And we give them the total rinsing they deserve.
It's basically group therapy for movie masochists. So come check us out wherever you stream podcasts.
We see Sam is in the ring, pre-directing, telling Ruth what he wants for the shots, pre-directing the wedding. He's going to stand in the middle of the ring, feeling nervous, then zoom in on the groom, then bridesmaids after bridesmaids after bridesmaids come out, and then Rhonda and her father walk down the aisle. Ruth says Britannica doesn't have a father. Sam yells that someone's got to give her away. Lift the veil, this is wedding 101. I thought you girls fantasized about this shit your whole life. Ruth says that is a gross generalization as she slides into the ring from underneath the ropes. She says they will need a platform and some stairs. Sam agrees and adds so everyone can get a good look at what true love looks like. Vows, a declaration of love, how they can't live without one another, fiction, and then they kiss. He stares at Ruth and is uncomfortable. He starts talking about the dance the other night, but Ruth interrupts him and reveals she slept with Russell. Sam is just feeling bad and doesn't know what to say, but Rosalie took Justine home, and now he's all alone again. Ruth feels bad. He says he lets somebody in, and then you make room, and they go, and yeah, the room's still there. He looks around the ring and says he wants a flower garland around the whole ring. The girls are pitching something more sparkly, but I like flowers. Ruth giggles and Sam yells, I'm not kidding. What I want this to work, we got executives to impress. Ruth adds in, oh well, if you want to impress people, I'd go with pyrotechnics. Russell walks into the gym greeting everyone. Sam asks what kind of loser comes to work on his day off. Russell says it's nice to see him too. Sam tells them to have fun on their date. Russell takes Ruth to the side and tells her she has three different ideas. Russell takes Ruth to the side and tells her he has three different ideas of how dinner's going to go, but she needs to make some choices. He asks if they should go east or west. She says east. He asks if she wants Italian or Asian. She says Asian. He says, okay, you should know this dumpling house I'm about to take you to is the best, but it's definitely run by some shady characters, and I one time had to hide under a table because a guy pulled a gun. But I think it's totally worth it. She says, oh boy, and giggles as he helps her get out of the ring. Next scene, we're at Chickies, the strip joint that is ran by Ray, played by comedian Horatio Sanz. Wasn't expecting to see him back again and totally forgot that he was the main focal point at the end of this episode. Horatio Sanz, everybody. He comes out of his office and tells one of his dancers who is taking a break and eating wings to wrap it up because another girl's getting tired. Snakeskin Seduction by Alice Naylor and Jeff Wells, supposedly a hair metal band from the 80s. Never heard of them, although not much is known about them except their songs have been on Winona Earp and promo clips for Cobra Kai. The camera pans over to the stage of the strip club, two poles on each side, in the middle of a ring hanging from the ceiling with one of the girls naked and sitting on it. It's a circle, or saying ring circle, whatever, for them to do stuff. Ray walks over to where Sam is sitting, writing things down for the episode he's doing later, and tells them the girls are going to get offended he's sitting here doing homework. Sam says it's better than jerking off under the table and thanks him for the wings. Ray tells him he keeps his promises. They shake hands. Weird fucking thing, he just stands there, looks down at Sam, just continuing to write. And then, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Why are you here, dude? Go stand somewhere else. Sam looks at the stage and Londa's dancing. He tells Ray she's one of his wrestlers. He can't see her take off her clothes now that he knows she's a person. She's a real human being. I can't see you take off your clothes anymore. You're a real human being. What the fuck? Ray says he's got to check out that wrestling. Sam suggests Ray catches it before it dies. This week is the last show. Ray tells Sam if any of Sam's girls need work, he's opening up a new club in Fresno. I got a few more opening up next year, a lot of opportunities. Sam tells Ray, no, no, don't recruit any of his girls. They're actresses. They're not strippers. Do not recruit my girls. Except for that one. He points at Yolanda, who is dancing for Artie, who is smiling at her. Artie tells Yolanda she is having so much fun, and Yolanda tells her that her set should be done soon. Sam realizes what is happening, moves over there. Artie says she's never been to a strip club before, but Sam tells her he's seen one. He's seen them all. Artie is infatuated with Yolanda dancing that all she can do is googly eyes at her. Sam asks if they both actually fall in love during that stupid dream ballet they did. He laughs and says, "That's cute." Artie says she doesn't know what's going on. She invited her to a strip club and she didn't say no. Yolanda creeps on them on her knees and asks Sam if he wants a lap dance for old time's sake. Sam says no, puts her money on her, and tells her not to take that top off until he leaves. Yolanda says she can't control the pole. Sam gets up laughing and leaves, telling them to have a good time. Yolanda says, "Buzz, you know fun." Sam says he knows and walks out. Next thing, Mark arrives to the gym holding a baby, baby Randy, Debbie's son, in his hands and surprises Debbie. He just thought the baby should see her in the ring in case the buyers don't come through. Debbie is confused again. Mark says it's a peace offering. They signed the papers, but he just wanted to turn the page. Debbie thinks Mark and baby Randy slides into the ring to hang out with Debbie. He tells Randy to wrestle with mommy so when he's older he can talk about it with his therapist. That's exciting. Cherry jumps out of the ring, giving Debbie alone time, and sits next to her husband Keith. They're both smiling as Debbie's playing with her son. He tells her that he called Jane LaBelle and that they might be available next week. They're stunt actors, so immediately they're looking for other jobs. Keith also says that Peaches says she's going to keep her ear to the ground. Work, she's doing that new movie with, what's his name? Bruce something Willis. Bruce Willis. Cherry loves that he's motivated. Keith says he likes work. Maybe she can try doing some stunt coordinating and stop jumping off shit. Give this body a break. She sits on top of him and asks why does her body need a break? He answers back so that they can get back to trying to start a family. He knows they've had bad luck, but this might all end, and they both know that, and if that happens, they got a window and he doesn't want to give that up. He asks her if she wants to give up. Cherry looks in the ring, Randy on all fours playing with his mom, who kisses him on his bald head. Shout out to that one guy, what's his name again? The actor, Willis or something, what? Bruce Willis, who's making a movie, and it's not the one you think. His first starring role in the movie won't be out until 1987. It's titled Blind Date, so they are possibly working on it at this point, possibly into January. Bruce Willis plays Walter Davis, a workaholic. His attention is all to his work and very little to his personal life or appearance. Now he needs a date to take his company's business dinner with a new important Japanese client. His brother sets him up with his wife's cousin Nadia, who is new in town and wants to socialize, but he has warned that if she gets drunk, she loses control and becomes wild. Wow. How will the date turn out, especially when they encounter Nadia's ex-boyfriend, David, played by John Larroquette? Directed by Blake Edwards, also starring Kim Basinger, Phil Hartman, Mr. Feeney! Sorry, force of habit. William Daniels. Next scene in the women's locker room. Fruit finally arrives, but she apologizes to everyone that she's late and blames it on the crutches for slowing her down. Debbie smirks and says she's late because she's boning Russell. Just own it. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm yelling out, "Mr. Feeney." Fucking great. Let's go. And listeners, yes, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm yelling out, "Mr. Feeney." The whole neighborhood's going to hear me. Who cares? Debbie smirks and she says she's late because she's boning Russell. Just own it. She grabs some makeup and hands it to Ruth and asks her to please cover the hickeys up and tell her to hoover back and focus his efforts elsewhere next time. Melrose walks by and says, "Yeah, like your clit." Ruth laughs. Debbie says she's grinning like a lunatic and notices how happy she is. Ruth says he's so fun and easy and he likes her. It's not that tingly nervous what the hell is going on here feeling. They have a bit of uncomfortable silence between each other. A bit because they have been working on it. You know, the whole thing where Debbie's husband cheats on her with Ruth and Debbie um, exacts revenge by sniffing coke and breaking her ankle. It's a weird show, everybody. Debbie says she can't believe she's gonna have to start dating again. Cameras focus on Ruth's face, guilty that she caused this. So Ruth is guilty for causing Debbie and Mark's breakup. Debbie is guilty for causing Ruth's broken ankle. It's a weird circle. Yeah. Debbie asks Ruth how's her ankle. Oh, now you want to know? Ruth responds, itchy. 4 more weeks with it on. 4 more weeks. Rhonda walks into her locker room with a wedding dress on, and everyone remarks how beautiful she looks. Ruth asks Debbie if that's her wedding dress. Debbie says yes. Rhonda pushes everyone away from her and goes in the stall to puke. Dawn says, it's going to be a great show, everybody. It's going to be a great show. Next scene, Sam's office. Bash is trying to help Cupcake with his bow tie. You remember Cupcake, right? Played by, um, what's the name? Hambino from The Sandlot. Ham. Whatever his name is. Played by Patrick Arena. Patrick Arena. You know, that guy. The great Hambino. Sam asked what his real name is. He's not calling him Cupcake. We're done with Cupcake. Really, I didn't want to call him Cupcake in the first place. I forgot all about this show. He answers Toby Matkins, and he's very excited to get to know Rhonda Britannica, sir. Bash asks why. He asks if he's going to get her in her pants. What's going on here? Toby says it's not like that. It's lonely living by yourself. Bash interrupts him and says he can't do the bow tie and asks them to do it. Toby asks for a tape of the show and the wedding. Bash says yes, whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. Sam asks Bash what's wrong with him. Bash says nothing is wrong with him. Bullshit. Sam says that he sounds upset, and Debbie said on the way back from the conference he didn't say anything at all. Bash says Debbie's a fucking drama queen, and he's just worried about the same shit Sam is worried about. He's worried about the show. He's worried about the buyers. Sam just Bash pepped it out, pepped it up. It's a wedding. So Bash hasn't told anybody about Florian's death. That's the whole thing. He's still living in denial that his best friend, his butler, had AIDS, and he's still living in denial that he was gay. The whole thing is so weird. He knew he was gay, but he didn't want to believe it. Optical flip to Kurt and his friend walking into the women's locker room looking for Carmen. Kurt's friend, played by legendary wrestler Chavo Guerrero Jr., who's credited as Chico Guapo. He was a fight and wrestling coordinator of Glow. He was also the wrestling coordinator on the TV series Young Rock, and recently played the Sheik on the A24 movie The Iron Claw. Great movie, you must watch it. Grab yourself some Kleenex because it is sad. The girls scatter trying to cover themselves. Carmen asks what Kurt is doing. Chico says Kurt is seeking justice. Carmen asks if she can swing by the house later tonight and they can discuss this. Chico says, no, it's too late for that. He pushes Kurt in front of Carmen to tell her. Kurt says it's messed up. She's on TV using his moves while he's busting his ass on the circuit night after night, and he got to deal with these guys giving him shit about it. Around the room, everyone's covered up except for Cherry, who's ready for a fight, just in case it comes down to that, but Sheila's covering her nipples. Melrose intervenes and says she needs to go. They have a show to do. Chico calls it a fucking clown show. Tammy slams her locker door and gets up to fight, but Debbie stops her. Ruth grabs her crutches and asks how are they a clown show. Chico says they're doing bad scripted comedy bullshit with goats. That was the last, whatever. Sheila immediately goes after his legs to take a bite out of it. And then you realize it's coming from the guy who had a toy horse on a stick and named him Pepe back in the 90s. Debbie tells Sheila to calm down, goes to Kurt and hugs him, telling him it's so good to see him again. Reminds everyone she threw her first clothesline at him. She introduces herself to Chico Guapo, claiming she knows who he is, but she's a producer on this show and asks him to take the conversation outside of the women's locker room, and they can talk out their grievances and find an appropriate solution. Kurt tells Chico to hear her out. She takes him out, but turns around to notify everyone she got this. Optical flip inside Sam's office. Ruth is in her Zoya gear, upset, holding onto her crutches, looking out the window at the crowd that's coming in. Sam walks into his office as Ruth says it's a full house. She thinks they made something people will really like. Sam says that's great, it'll look good for the suits, the four that came. Ruth reminds Sam that four is better than none. But wanna bet on who buys them? Sam says not him, he doesn't gamble anymore. They look at the monitor and point out that Glenn showed up. Sam thinks that maybe he came to apologize for being a spineless dickhead. He's probably here just to make sure we don't run off with his equipment. He grabs his headset and tells Phil to frame up on Bash so he can see what the aisle looks like from up there. Debbie runs to the office and says, long story short, there was a small fire, metaphorically speaking, and she put it out, and they might notice a small cameo during the show. I mean, yeah, you'll barely feel it, and she told Bash so he's prepared. She heads out the door, but says, you're welcome, and goes to get changed. Sam and Ruth are both confused. Sam walks away to smoke a cigarette, but Ruth sighs in disbelief that it is the last show. Again.
In a world where true crime meets the supernatural and the unexplained,
where true crime and chills go hand in hand.
Welcome to Total Conundrum, the podcast that explores the dark, the eerie, and the downright mysterious.
Join us as we embark on a spine-tingling journey through the mysteries that keep you up at night.
We're diving deep into true crime stories, uncovering the most baffling cases, and exploring the twisted minds behind them.
But we don't stop there. We're also exploring the paranormal, from haunted houses to cryptids and all the creepy things that go bump in the night. Get ready for some supernatural thrills.
And what sets us apart? Prepare for a dose of dark humor as we navigate through the creepy and bizarre.
We've got it all. Bone-chilling tales, banter, and mind-boggling conundrums. You won't know whether to scream or laugh.
So grab your favorite snack, turn down the lights, and join us for a roller coaster ride of true crime and the supernatural, sprinkled with a bit of comic banter.
Stay curious, stay captivated, and let's dive into the world of Total Conundrum.
Now available on your favorite podcast platform. Get ready to be captivated, creeped out, and cracked up with Total Conundrum.
Do you like to drink wine? Do you like to talk about your favorite things and rank them in categories? Then you have come to the right place. Welcome to the Sip List, a podcast where, you guessed it, we drink lots of wine and make lists of all our favorite things. My name's Amanda, and each week my guest and I will review a favorite wine we're drinking, or if they aren't cool enough to drink wine, then the lame beverage of their choice. And then we will rank our top 5 favorites of different things in different categories. You can expect to hear all kinds of things, from favorite horror movies to favorite Disney characters, favorite true crime books to favorite women in history. The episodes will be diverse, but they will always include wine, lists, and lots of laughs. You can find the Sip List on social media. On Facebook, just search the Sip List Pod. Be sure to like the page and join the private Facebook group for the most up-to-date info on everything that's happening. You can also find us on Instagram at the Sip List Pod. I'm really excited to bring you guys some fun and amazing content, and I hope you'll join me on this journey. And until next time, whenever life is tough, just keep sipping.
In the ring, the ceremony is about to begin. Bash announces to everyone, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a very sacred event. He was a regular fan, she is a regular genius, and tonight they will come together in holy matrimony before our very eyes. But first, the Glow wedding party. The wedding march song comes on and the bridesmaids start coming out. Here comes two classy dames, Melrose and Fortune Cookie. Dot and Stacy both do an air guitar rock rendition of the wedding march as they head towards the ring. Back in Sam's office, Ruth is laughing at the whole thing and Sam says, look, everybody looks so fucking weird and pretty. Weird and pretty is a good combination. Ruth says they look great. Carmen is next, wearing a bright blue shirt with the front saying, the Lumberjacksons are my favorite rustlers. And Machu Picchu pees the bed till she was 10 on the back. Bash says what an interesting and strange thing you learned during the wedding. Carmen asks Bash to read the shirt. Sam asks if she lost a bet. Bash continues with the announcement as Welfare Queen and Sheila make their way to the ring. Excuse me, Welfare Queen, everyone knows you don't wear white to a wedding. Welfare Queen takes off her white mink coat and tosses it in the ground. Sheila turns to look at the front row, and the fan that was dressed as her in the past few episodes is back with his friends who are dressed as Sheila as well. Sheila howls, and so do her fans as they stand up so everyone can see their cosplay. Sheila slides in the ring, ready to attack. Bash announces the maid of honor, and Britannica closest friend, Liberty Bell. Because, America's closest friend is Britain. Weird concept. Backstage, Keith is holding onto a horse Rhonda is on top of. She got her wish. Also, a little homage to the actual wrestler that came out in a horse, Godiva. Yes, one more time, the wrestler that got me in trouble, and I wasn't allowed to watch Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling again. Ever. I ended up watching it anyway. Rhonda leans down and tells Keith she might have to throw up again. He tells her to just breathe. They both inhale and exhale. He tells her he got this. She asks if divorce is easy in California. Keith asks what does she want to do. If she wants to cut and run, he'll cover for her. She nods and wants to get on with it. Bash introduces Britannica and who is on top of a unicorn. They somehow stuck a tube in his horse face and called it a unicorn. Sam says that horse better not shit in here. Rose says he's definitely going to. Rhonda gets off of the horse and enters the ring ready for her wedding as she stands next to Toby and in front of her ordained minister. Judge Eric, who is played by Jonathan Mangum, most notably known for the new series of Whose Line Is It Anyway. Judge Eric starts the proceedings. We are gathered here today in the presence of friends and fans to join the man and this woman and the bonds of matrimony. The audience cheers. Toby grabs Rhonda's hand. Judge Eric continues, Britannica, Toby, through your commitment to each other, and may you grow and nurture a partnership to help you become the people that you want to be. A fan yells out to cut to the good stuff already. The audience laugh. Judge Eric continues before we move on to wedding vows. Is there anyone here to see any reason why this couple should not be married? Speak now, forever hold your peace. A small pause, and one Bash Howard looks suspicious about whether or not to stop the wedding. Judge Eric says, without further ado, Britannica, do you take this man, Toby? Rhonda doesn't let him finish the sentence. She just says, yes, she does. Judge Eric turns to Toby. Do you take, but interrupted by Bash, who apologizes and says he needs to talk to Rhonda real quick. The audience is shocked and groan. Bash takes Rhonda to the side and tells her not to marry a stranger. She says she needs the green card. Bash suggests to marry him. Back at Sam's office, Ruth asks Bill to tighten up on the scene. Rhonda asks Bash, is this for the show? Bash says no. She knows who he is. He can make her happy. He apologizes and repeats that he wants to make her happy. Rhonda asks why he's doing this. He says because he's been coming to her room for weeks and sleeps on the floor, and he's been trying to figure out how to tell her that he's in love with her. He has trouble processing his emotions sometimes, and yes, ideally he would have told her this weeks ago, and we'd go on a date and figure it out, but maybe we do everything backwards. Judge Eric asks if he should continue with the ceremony. Toby says yes, she's marrying him. Rhonda says no, she's not. The audience gasp. Oh my god, the drama. They can't believe it. This is the final show and they're doing this. Rhonda tells Toby he's a beautiful man and a devoted fan, but she's going to marry Bash. Toby is shocked and yells at the announcer, Britannica, I love you. Rhonda tells Toby she's always going to be fond of him and his baked goods. Bash leans in to tell Toby that he will be compensated for his time here. Toby curses at him and at everyone in the ring. He says love is fake. Just like wrestling. The audience, not only the audience, the wrestlers in the ring, everyone, all gasp. How dare you? Everyone immediately run at him. The crowd boos at him. I love how Tammy, the real wrestler outside of the show, is the first one to grab him by his hair and toss him out of the ring. Nope, get the hell out of here. Keith kicks him out of the gym. Bash and Rhonda stand in front of the judge and he asks if he really wants to keep going. They say yes. Judge Eric asks Britannica, do you take Sebastian Howard to be your lawful wedded husband? She says, I do. Judge Eric asks Bash, Sebastian, do you take Britannica to be your lawful wedded wife? Bash says, I do. Judge Eric says, by the power vested in him by the state of California, he now pronounces them man and wife. He may kiss the bride. Everyone cheers, even the Globot. All except for Carmen, who seems crushed. A little meta there. It seems in the real glow, Mount Fiji, who is Carmen supposed to resemble, had a small crush on the creator of the show, Matt Simber, who was also the announcer. So they had a little bit of, let's add that into the show. Back in the office, Sam asks what the fuck is he doing. Ruth says, I don't know, but Rhonda just married a millionaire without a prenup. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Da-dum. Back in the ring, Rhonda gets in the middle rope and throws the bouquet behind her to all the girls. Melrose catches it and is happy she caught it, but then realizes she don't believe in marriage and tosses it to Jenny, who is happy she caught it. Bash is sitting at the announcer's desk and says, I almost forgot. Tonight's rules, whoever wins the bouquet wins the crown. Sheila jumps at Jenny. Everyone else fight each other. Bash yells, it's a battle royale. Holy Toledo, we got fights in every corner, including Britannica, who goes after her own bouquet. Sam is watching from his office still and says, this is insane, but it looks great. Back in the ring, Welfare Queen tosses out Vicky Viking. Thanks for coming back, Vicky. Ruth gets on the headset and tells Rosa to come around to get Tammy from the front. Carmen kicks Welfare Queen out. Yolanda throws Carmen into the turnbuckle. Sheila acts like she's pissing on Rhonda, who screams, no! Yes, it's silly, we know. Sheila kicks out Rhonda. Bash says, there goes the bride, my bride. Black Magic does a spell on Dawn, but Stacy pokes Magic in the eye. Bash says she poked her eye out and you can't give the evil eyes with no eyes. I hope his puns are better by next season because I'm done. They kick her out of the ring. Bash says that the spell just turned into a curse. Ozone just exercised the nuclear option. I can't, man. Ozone throws Nuke out of the ring. It's a betrayal. Better yet, Nuke just dragged out Ozone out of the ozone layer. Watching it is different than reading it. Okay? Liberty Bell is dangling from the rope just like the fate of our country in 1776. Because America was dangling from the ropes, guys. I can't. Melrose gets on the other side of the ring apron to try and take out Liberty Bell, but Sheila takes her out by biting her fingers. Beirut drags Junk Ching to the ropes, looks at her and plants a big kiss on her. They look at each other and Beirut calls her an infidel before throwing her out of the ring. Carmen kicks out Beirut. Liberty Bell elbows Fortune Cookie in the face and kicks her out. Bash says Fortune Cookie looks like she had a fortune read and says, no crown for you, miss. And it looks like there's only 3 ladies left. We got a wild animal, Sheila, a Peruvian mountain, Machu Picchu, and you got a belle from Philly. Do they talk in a southern accent in Philly? What the hell? They all stand in the middle of the ring about to fight, but is interrupted by Kurt and Chico, who yells at the girls, you call this a battle royale? Looks like a pillow fight. The crowd boo at them. Machu yells, hey look, it's Big Kurt Jackson and Chico Guapo, big time wrestlers. Ooh. Liberty Bell says if they want to insult them, say it to their faces. Bash says this match has just gotten serious. Will a man with a glow crown? That's unheard of. Liberty Bell asks Machu Picchu and Sheila if they can have a temporary truce while they deal with these men. She throws the bouquet at Bash and asks him to hold it for a while. Kurt reminds the girls only wrestling moves, no punches. He doesn't want anyone to think they're okay with hitting girls. Carmen says sure, and they attack Kurt and Chico with punches. The rules are thrown out the window. Sheila and Liberty Bell team up on Chico while Carmen clotheslines Kurt. Carmen body slams Kurt. Bash says, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Somebody just got a body slam. Carmen is about to throw Kurt out, but she asks him if this is enough screen time for them. Kurt says that she's still in the doghouse, but this is good. He tells her he's proud of her. Liberty Bell and Sheila come out to help Machu Picchu push Kurt out of the ring. All 3 girls surround Chico Guapo. Liberty Bell says this one's hers. Bash says, step aside, Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. We have a new battle of sexes here at the Glow finale. Which is an obvious reference to the 1973 tennis match between both of them, where 30K people came to see them at the Houston Astrodome for the Battle of the Texas? Battle of the Sexes tennis match. Chico and Liberty Bell both circle the ring. Chico calls the match duck and clothesline. He tries to hit her, but she ducks and then hits the clothesline. She hits the clothesline. She picks him up. He punches her in the stomach and then says, hip toss me. He goes to the ropes and comes back for a hip toss from her. Liberty Bell steps on Chico and raises her fist in the air, yelling that she's been baking pies at home. Pies of rage. Another one who I think should work on her stuff. For next season, you know. Chico trips her up, lifts her back up again, and tells her on her feet. He lifts her up for a suplex, but she gets out of it and lands on her feet. He tells her to duck. She goes to the rope and comes back to hit a spinning head scissors. The crowd chants USA. Liberty Bell talks to the crowd, saying she hopes U.S. and Mexican relations can only improve in the future. She turns around and does a castador on Chico, followed by a crossbody. Everyone is amazed. The audience cheers. Bash says that's like doing algebra in space. Debbie asks Chico if he's ready to lose to a girl. He says, just get my face on camera. She asks if he can do a backflip. He does the backflip spot and she moves towards the middle of the ropes. He runs at her and she ducks to get him out of the ring. Sheila and Carmen celebrate with Debbie, but Bash reminds them that what they're still fighting for is he throws the bouquet back in the ring. Carmen, Sheila, and Debbie dogpile fight for the bouquet. Ruth is on the headset, tells Phil she wants to close up of Carmen's face when she wins the crown. Sam says, oh, she's not getting it. Ruth asks if Debbie's keeping it. Sam tells Ruth to take her headphones off and takes her to the other side of the office where a zipline has been installed. He tells her not to do anything fancy, just catapult in with your foot out. That's it. They all know she's coming and the crown is yours. Ruth is beside herself and begins to cry. Sam yells at her again, come on, let's go, we're waiting, everyone's waiting. Sheila, Carmen, and Debbie all stand up and wait their cue as Ruth ziplines down to the ring with her foot as she was told to kick all three girls out of the ring. Bash officially announces that Zoya is this year's winner of the crown. Ruth goes into full Zoya character and tells the audience, you love to hate Zoya. She smells the bouquet. Oh, it's like butt to me. She rubs it in her butt and then her front as well. She stands in the middle of the ring, happy as can be, and yells, Zoya!
Are you looking for a new podcast? Or maybe you just love celebrity interviews and can't get enough of them? On the Tis Yourself podcast, the Todd, aka Rob Maschio from Scrubs, told me about his first time speaking to a group of surgeons.
And I was just like, listen, guys, when in doubt, the Todd's prescription for everything is less moaning, more boning.
Or you want to find out more about how Joe Exotic had such a vendetta against Carol Baskin when she had this to say about him.
Because I've never even spoken to Joe.
Find out all of this and more on the Tis Yourself podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
The goal? Explain the 1990s in exactly 60 songs. Radiohead, Tupac, Mariah Carey, Lauryn Hill, Wonderwall, Enter Sandman, You Oughta Know, Cream. The greater goal? Move past cheap nostalgia to something deeper and weirder and better. My name is Rob Harvilla. I'm a music critic at The Ringer, and my new show is called, indeed, 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. Since that title is fairly self-explanatory, I figured I'd explain what qualifies me to host this. Here is my resume. In 1992, I won a trophy for wearing more corduroy and flannel than any other 13-year-old in America. Freshman year of college, I was in a third-wave ska band that broke up and reformed without me as an emo band. I nearly started a civil war at my college radio station by putting You Got Me by The Roots in heavy rotation. I cried the first time I heard Bjork's Hyper Ballad, which incidentally occurred somewhere between the ska band and the emo band. One time I wrote out the lyrics to Sunny Day Real Estate's In Circles by hand and mailed them to a girl. All of those are true except the first one. This is my perspective. Crucially, in every episode, I'll be joined by fellow writers, critics, musicians, enthusiasts, and Ringer luminaries with wildly different perspectives. Whether you're full of teenage angst, or you feel bored and old, whether you don't know the song at all or you know it far too well, we'll take you through the decade, one killer track at a time. 60 Songs That Explain the 90s is released every Thursday. Listen for free on Spotify.
Next scene, the show's over and Bash is looking at the ring, reflecting. Rhonda sneaks up behind him and tells him he can still back out of this if he wants. Bash says he meant everything he said up there. Rhonda doesn't think she feels that way yet. Bash says that it's okay, they can take it one day at a time, right? Beginning tomorrow, we'll wake up and we'll head on down to the county clerk's office and we'll get the marriage license taken care of. And then after breakfast, we'll go get you a real ring and not those cheesy fake ones. They both smile at each other. She asks if he wants to get her a ring. He says, of course, I want to do everything, but right now he has to go and talk to those executives. He kisses her and walks away. In the ring, all the girls are looking up at Sam's office when they're all having a meeting. Ruth says the tall guy looks interested. Look at him. Melrose says short tall guy is definitely bidding. I've made lots of focused eye contact with them during the show. Sheila asks why is Glenn up there. Ruth explains that KDTV wants the show back now that there's outside interest. Everyone in the office leave. One of the executives has that look of disappointment, wishes there was more he could have done. Glenn follows the other executives out of the door, but Sam grabs him by his collar and pushes him towards the ring. Sam tells Glenn he should tell them. Glenn clears his throat and says, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, ladies, but KDTV owns your characters, which means you can't sell them to another network. You signed a contract. Listen, by all means, you keep doing the live show, for your fans in the gym to feed the soul. Bash calls out for Glenn. Everyone looks up because he's still on the balcony of the office and says, get the fuck out of my gym. Glenn leaves. Some of the girls are in the ring depressed. Jenny is sitting on top of Phil getting consoled. Yolanda is sitting next to Ray. Debbie's right by the stairs. Everyone is sad. Ray says, okay, well, that show was insane. Good insane. Highbrow, lowbrow, comedy, drama, heartache, violence, and a fucking wedding. I mean, the show is something for everyone in the costumes. Holy shit. I mean, you really got something here. Bra fucking bow. He claps his hands. Sam pats Ray's back and says, yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Ray. Thanks for the review. He turns to the girls in the ring and tells them, look, this isn't what we hoped would happen, but this is what happened. We got screwed, alright? I'm sorry. Sometimes stories end this way. Again, everyone's down and depressed. Ray looks at them and asks if they're interested in doing a floor show. Sam asks, like a, what, where? Like one of your bars? Ray says, no, man, Vegas. He has a stake in the club and they're looking for a headliner. Wayne Newton is at the Aladdin. The New Frontier has Siegfried and Roy, and Splash just opened up at the Riviera. Bash runs down the stairs. Ruth says, are you asking us to be showgirls? Ray answers her with no. What I'm asking you to do is the same exact show, night after night, 300 miles east. He turns to Sam and tells him Vegas is where the money is. Headliners make at least 25 grand a week. You think this is a big room? We have to fill 11,000 seats. Debbie interrupts. Sorry, who is that? Who the fuck are you? Sam tells Debbie that that's Ray. His kid goes to school with Justine. He owns a strip club. He's cool. Don't worry about it. Yolanda vouches and says, yeah, she worked for him. Yeah, he's cool. Debbie's cool with it and says, okay. Ray continues, I don't know dick about TV, but I know that the screen is very small, but you guys throw one hell of a big live show, and there's nothing bigger than a live show in Vegas. Everyone stares at each other smiling, excited for this opportunity. Some are up for it, others maybe not. They will have to think about it. Optical flip to 4 weeks later. It's how long Ruth said she can take off her cast, and she's walking around normal now without one. A Greyhound bus is waiting outside the gym. Jenny and Merle are seen placing their luggage on the side of the bus. Debbie's holding Randy and talking to Mark. She doesn't think she can do it. Mark says it's a 40-minute plane ride. You get a sudden impulse to give him a bath, you can come home. She kisses Randy and says he's just so little. It's basically joint custody. It's just a little sooner than we planned, and if you don't want to, don't go. She says she's going. Mark says maybe this is one of the benefits of the divorce. She tells Randy she loves him, and she will see them Thursday and hands him off to Mark. She tells him she's going to call a lot, even if he's just going to chew on the phone cord. She says goodbye and goes to the bus. In the background, Russell shows up with Ruth and is ready to say goodbye to her. He says he likes it better when she was on crutches. She couldn't run away to Vegas. Mark is seen driving away and has one more moment with Ruth as they smile at each other. Stop smiling at each other. The camera pans from Mark's car. The camera pans from Mark's car to Debbie sitting on the bus and watches Mark drive away and then stares back at Ruth smiling at her. She asks Russell to come with them. He says there's something you don't need for a live floor show in Vegas, a cameraman. It'll be fine. KTV's going to have me shoot some good as gold episodes, the TV show. We'll write some mushy letters to each other. You'll visit, I'll visit. We'll try not to fuck it up. They kiss. Everyone on the bus starts cheering and mocking them. Russell flips them off. The last few minutes of the season finale needs an ending montage with a good song, though. Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship, which wasn't released until January 30th, 1997, and was included on their 1997 album, No Protection. Russell kisses Ruth one more time. She grabs her luggage and walks away towards the bus. Ruth has to be so dramatic. She gets inside the bus and looks at Jim one more time before she hops right in to take her seat. Inside the bus, they're all doing that stare out the window pose while listening to their Walkman. Bash and Rhonda sitting side by side, Rhonda with a smile on her face and Bash knowing what he's leaving behind and the pain in his eyes. Artie and Yolanda sitting side by side, staring into each other's eyes and smiling. Debbie reaches her hand out behind her to Tammy, who grabs it. Both moms leaving their children behind. One who is in college and the other who is just a toddler. They are mothers who will bond on this trip. Keith and Cherry sitting next to each other. Forget that Bruce Willis movie guy. They're going to make a life in Vegas. They're going to make movies. Maybe she will quit and get pregnant. Maybe more opportunities will arise for them. Sheila sitting in the back of the bus, laying down, not knowing what the future holds for a she-wolf. Sam staring out the window. He no longer has a record since it's a floor show, but it's his creation. Maybe he'll have top priority over this. The only thing he leaves behind is Justine, but she's back with Rosalie. So maybe Justine will visit. And then there's Ruth, who sits silently, if only for a few minutes, and that she says she never been to Vegas. Sam smirks and turns to Ruth and says, "Oh, you're gonna hate it." Ruth smiles as if to say, "Bring it on. Let me hate this place my way." Plus a little meta, considering I don't remember a thing that happened in the third season except for the opening scene. Ruth continues to smile, but that smile disappears and turns into a frightened look. She's scared. She's scared of what could happen. The scene turns to black, and the credits roll with the happy song still playing. But just like a Marvel movie at the end of the credits, back to the article with Alex Rich on theadvocate.com. It wasn't done. I don't know why I said Marvel movie at the end of the credits. I'm just still continuing it. There's more. There's more. They asked Alex Rich, "Do you think Florian's death may have factored into Bash and Paul's decision to marry at the end of the season 2? Absolutely, the depression and loss of someone he cared about so deeply must have left him reeling. Bash has all the love in the world to give and is so buoyant. When he saw Britannica struggling against the concept of marrying Cupcake, I'm sure he would have seen nothing but the opportunity to help. He also needed to fight against the confrontation of his identity and wanted to rebel against the life he had seen Florian live when he went to the gay bar with Machu Picchu and Britannica. How much has HIV stigma changed between then and now? Immensely, with the advances made in medicine, the general increased acceptance and tolerance of the queer community, and the research done to develop a better understanding of illness. HIV seems a lot less terrifying today than that was in the 80s. I think we still have a long way to go to destigmatizing the HIV positive community. But we moved leaps and bounds above where we were in the 80s when the disease was still largely a mystery. There are still so few HIV positive characters on TV. As an actor, how does it feel to have been a part of that representation? It's an incredible gift to be able to present underrepresented an extremely difficult portion of society. HIV is still a huge problem, both in its contraction and stigmatization. The more we can bring the reality of an HIV positive experience to light, the more tolerant people will be of the struggles associated, and I think that the movement is extremely powerful and important. The way Florian and Badger's struggle has been handled in this season is extremely relatable, and when people can identify with an HIV positive character on TV, I really believe they'll be more compassionate to those struggles in real life. What does heaven for Florian look like? Malibu waves, glowbots, party snacks, Bash and Lucky Charms, marshmallow clouds. And that was the end of that interview. But hold on. Let's hear it for the hero of the show, this episode, Horatio Sands saving the day. Last 2 episodes, and he comes in, does his thing, and saves the day. Ray saved the day. And I need to work on my puns also. I still say that Bash knew what was going on, even that look at the end of this episode was extremely suspicious. Did he tell anyone that Florian died? If he did, would they ask how? Would they freak out if he told them it was HIV related? Yes, they would. I did go in search of what others thought of the episode on Reddit. User Katya says Bash. I suspect, as many others do, that he and Florian had a romantic relationship. I think he may have been terrified of having AIDS since Florian died from it. His impulsive proposal and marriage to Rhonda, I think, is purely opportunistic. If he has intentions of keeping his love life personal, he needs her to hide who he is, and she needs him for a green card, a symbiotic relationship of sorts. Terman Farrer says, when Bash walks into the gay club, he seems very shocked and seems like he needs a few moments to comprehend what is even happening. He acts like he doesn't understand he's in a gay bar at first, even though all those juicy guys standing around him. It seems to me like he is in denial that Florian might be gay. Florian is one of the persons most close to Bash, and it's implied that they spend a lot of time together, and still it seems like Bash had no idea about Florian being gay. As the season progresses, it seems like he kind of knew, but he was heavily denying it. I think they did not have a relationship, but there are some buried feelings inside Bash, and that he has been denying himself feeling for Florian and finding out what is his own sexuality is because of the stigma of being openly gay in the 80s. I love that storyline, and I can't wait for the next season. Probably gonna binge the show a few more times until then. Same. Riley Rules You says Bash is dealing with his own sexuality, and the marriage is his response. Look, I'm normal. I'm marrying a woman. I must love women. And finally, Jelena says, I interpret it this way. Bash saw Florian as his best friend and companion, and only realized upon going to the gay bar that his feelings for Florian were that of romantic love. This scared him, especially given Florian's death and the stigma around homosexuality and HIV, so he married Britannica as a way to avoid addressing his feelings and to hide his sexuality. Both he and Britannica know it's not real, but I imagine he'll put a lot of energy into the marriage and try to convince himself that it is. And that was it. That was the season finale. There's a season 3 on Netflix. I'm going to talk about it soon, but right now I'm going to take a break and actually point at the WrestleMania sign. Next week is a jam-packed week, and I'm going to have the predictions plus the show and what went on the entire week. So I'm going to be updating all the socials with reblogs or retweets, repost. I don't know what it's called anymore. Also, favorite episode would have to be the one where nothing was the good twin. It's when Zoya's good twin Olga. It's the whole show where it doesn't have to do with the storyline at all. It's just the show inside the show. That was my favorite episode. But then again, all the episodes are. I love all the other episodes that brought on this season. And that's it. Before I forget, if you heard the show from its inception, then you've heard the diabetes episode. Next month is the 3-year anniversary of when I was diagnosed with diabetes. Yes, I celebrate it every year since I got it in 2021. So to me, this is going to be Diabetes Awareness Month. I'm going to do lots of things on the social, so watch out for that. You can support by posting the hashtag Wrestling with Diabetes. It's already going on, I guess. I'll be posting on Twitter and the threads a little dancey dance on the TikToks. We're doing that. We're bringing that to life. Bringing awareness on Instagram. I'm going to try the best I can. So remember, the hashtag is Wrestling with Diabetes. As always, follow us on our socials and support us from Under the Apron on Instagram, the Threads, YouTube, Apron_stories on the Twitter. Follow me and join my live streams on TikTok at Evolution of the Geek, where you will also find me doing version of the podcast that will then be posted on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or any other audio media you can listen to podcasts on. More info on the links where you can listen or watch in the show notes. Don't forget to rate us and leave us a review. And if you feel you want to do a little bit more, support us on the TikTok at Evolution of the Geek by subscribing. Join the Fatherless Behavior Cult Squad. I'm sorry, just a squad, not a cult. Sorry about that. And show up to the live stream to watch, and I will shout you out at the end of every episode. Like Menace Smiling, Lil Linguini, Brandy, Turtle Boy Flores, Toasted Bagel, Moss Queen, Moonlight Dancer, Squirrely Bree, Kimmy, Feelin' Free, Mary Brewster, Tender Surrender, Forever Jane, Cherry Q, Lisa, Lauren Elise 707, Sandra Woodbury, Quick Draw, Forever Miss Dawn, Melinda Gonzalez 429, Purple Moose Crafting, Liana, Princess and the Herb, Cloudy November, and Pleasure Passport 3.0. Get 20% off on adult toys when you enter discount code EVO at pleasurepassport.shop. That's discount code EVO. Link will be in the show notes. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast. Join the TikTok Live and subscribe or hang out and watch the live and get your name shout out. Check out the show notes for a link to other podcast trades that you heard on this episode. Send us a message of your favorite wrestling stories, questions, comments, ratings, or requests on our email. It is from undertheapron@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, join the live, and being a huge part of this wonderful community. We are still growing. Tell your friends. Join us next time for more behind-the-scenes stories, movies, and TV show reviews when we come to you from Under the Apron. I'm Evo. I'm proud of y'all, and I love your faces. Oh, nothing's gonna stop us now. I don't even know the song. Bye.